the moment where you would obviously say he would want that back. Obviously, he'd want them all back, but you know what I mean? As far as being at fault, I think the D's let him down, and at this stage, I don't have any concerns about Zakowski. As far as Rusty's concerned, I thought he did all right. I mean, again, it's difficult for a player coming in and not getting that much ice time. And even though it's the start of the season, I think, I said it before, I would like to see Rusty get some more games. I think the demands of the season may actually lead to that happening. I don't know what the strategy will be, but I think has already been shown the likes of Belfast. I think their intention is to have some form of rotation type thing going on, and that may not do us any harm, but we've got to find the team form first of all before we start messing about with rotation of goalies. But we know Rusty's a safe pair of hands, so I've got no concern about either of them so far.
Yep. Tchaikovsky wasn't pulled, in my opinion, by Ryan because of anything he'd done wrong. I think he was maybe trying to protect him from a score that was going to get out of hand. But it was nice to see that he had no hesitation putting Rusty in, though. So that was a positive thing, I suppose. And when Rusty was there, he didn't really do anything wrong, and he never has let us down. We've got lots of questions to get through, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. Ryan, Connor, yeah. Should we change the lines already or stick with them? Well, I think Ryan answered that question when he says he'll probably do a bit of tinkering. If it's not working, you try something that will work. And every season every team goes through this where they change lines up and try and get something that's going to click. So, I think that kind of answers itself. Ross Jardine, how long will it take our fans to understand you can't have an amazing team in 3 games? Yep, I go with that as well. But also, you've got to bear in mind the stat I just said. We've never lost 3 games in a row to start the season. So then this weekend's going to be crucial. William McDonald, thoughts on the Wharton-Hendricks line, how good Zach Sully is. Zach Sully turned the puck over for a goal. That's how good. I mean, I'm not going to blame people, but the D for me is one of the problems. It's not clicking. Coverages are getting blown. They're probably just not sure who's going to be doing what yet. And, okay, maybe you're talking about Wharton-Hendricks line. I don't think there's kind of anybody in the D that can sit back and think that they've done well over the last weekend. Everybody needs to work harder, and yeah, if they need to change the pairings, they need to change the pairings and find what clicks, but I wouldn't be singling anybody out from the D. Do you agree with that, Jennifer?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Saturday was only Baldwin's first game, so that's now from having 5 players to pick, Finner's got 6 players to pick from, so we'll just wait and see who clicks.
This is going to kind of moving on to Hendricks, Lord, and, there's a lot of people, and a lot of things have been happening just before we came on to record. Paul Smith saying a discussion in Hendricks would be interesting. Do we think he's been worth it so far? Rusty said Hendricks Lord fight pre-planned. Obviously people are getting on about Andrew Lord, and probably obviously about Andrew Lord's comments after the game, rumours and we could be their rivals, etc., and comments from last season's pod. I'm not really sure what he's getting on about with comments from last season's pod. I don't know if he's just talking about, we've said that, the rivalry between Cardiff and Braehead, but I think that's obviously going on.
I think it may be the fact that you hate Cardiff.
I really like the organisation. We're kind of going to that. I really like what Todd Kelman does down there, and I like the way he goes about his business, but when he put that tweet out tonight, I kind of did sit back and think, that's very un-Kelman-like. The one tweet he put out in reply to Thomas Kirka about, do you really want everybody to know why you're not back at Cardiff? Yeah, that was a bit strange, but generally I like Todd Kelman. I like the Devils organisation. Some of their fans just don't go on me very well, but some I do as well. So yeah, Carly York, Andrew Lord's post-match comments for behind closed doors discuss, and Andrew Bonner surely contravening EIHL rules regarding social media policy. Then deny it was aimed at anyone, so why mention it? I think the thing about the EIHL policy, it's 2 hours before, an hour after, but that interview wasn't put out till the next day, I believe, so it was well out with the hour. So I don't think he's contravening the social media policy.
And that is the social media policy. The social media policy has been quoted or used as a deciding tool for other things that actually aren't even mentioned in the social media policy, because the policy only, certainly the last time I looked at it, was only about the timing of things being said rather than what's been said. Obviously, as we know, fines have been dished out, usually in Sheffield's direction, for things that have happened. But Yeah, there isn't a social media policy other than the timing side of it. So, as
No,
you say,
it's not very clear. But in terms of the guidelines that you see, like the timings, then it's not. I don't really have. I think, as I was going to say, Kelly Oates has a more valid point. Is that as his post-match comments for behind closed doors, and it's not really different to the revelations about Bruton from last year, is it? In principle. You know, it's something that's happened on the ice. Players chirp each other on the ice all the time. I don't have an issue with it personally.
It was very direct, but no, I do totally agree that it's definitely something that probably shouldn't have been shared.
Yeah, he's obviously frustrated about something, but you know, if fans are not supposed to know about these things, then you should maybe not brought it on YouTube. Graham, you can have been quiet about that facet of it.
Well, for me, there's quite a lot to this. First of all, we've got Andrew Lord, and especially, and going back to the point that you were alluding to, one of the most respected, dare I say, even considered level-headed members of the inner circle in Todd Kelman, and the two of them have gone very, very public on something that
it's just not like them, is it?
It's not like them. So clearly, you know, if it's as straightforward as it appears to be, whereby they're getting grief from ex-players because they weren't brought back, then, you know, fair enough. But the kind of scale of the reaction, or the fact there's even been a reaction at all from both of them. I mean, Lord couldn't wait to start talking about it in his interview. I mean, he was introduced and then he was straight into it. There was no holding him back. And as I say, for Todd, I'll be honest, when I first saw it, and I saw it a little while after it came out, I thought Todd's account had been hacked because I thought, I don't know the guy, but I thought that doesn't seem to be within his character. So something has clearly irked them, and personally, I don't have a problem with it. Let's be honest about it. For us, EIHL social media, you know, inhabitants, it's great. It's fantastic. It's a bit of drama. It's also not our team, although Hendricks is involved, but it's not really our team, so that's fine. We can have a little look and a laugh at Cardiff, the fact that they seem to be losing the plot a little bit, and social media wise, great, fantastic. You know, it does reopen that whole debate about what should be behind closed doors and what shouldn't.
All right. As far as Hendricks is concerned, I've got no regrets about him being here in terms of his play. I thought he was unlucky to get the instigator call the other night, which put us on the penalty kill right away, which lost the goal. But no, does anybody here think that Hendricks has been a mistake so far?
No, he's. I mean, obviously, it looked as though on Saturday night that he'd hurt himself for a wee while because he was missing for quite a wee bit of the game.
Yeah.
But no, I can only see him as being positive. I know a lot of people are kind of perhaps saying that he's maybe slow, but I don't really notice him being slower than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that came out of the Lord thing as well was talking about Rosehill and saying that they never tried to stop his visa. I know there was another team that were looking at signing Rosehill, and the kind of suggestion now has been that it's shifted onto them, that they were the ones that tried to block Rosehill from coming with his visa, make it difficult for him to come. We know as well that sometimes when players leave clubs, they don't always, it's like relationship splits as well. They're not always clean. They're not always, they can't always be classed as amicable partings. And it happens in hockey as well. When players leave, they don't always sometimes think they've been treated properly. The same can be true of the team. Maybe doesn't think, they've been treated properly as well. And that can lead to things that happened the other night. But there could, there's two sides to every story. On this occasion, the Clan have kept their mouth shut, which is probably by order, I would imagine, Graham, eh?
Undoubtedly, yes. Let Cardiff have their fun, and we can just look on. Quite right.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to some of the off-ice stuff, which seems to have been taken over, annoyingly, over the last wee while. LA1 states, when are they going to stop the cringy roar? The roar wasn't so bad on Saturday. It's the first time I've seen it, close hand. I don't know, I just think the place they're doing it, and the only thing that's bothering me about it now is more the kind of, right, it's time to start cheering, kind of prompt. I don't particularly like that. It's kind of grown on me a wee bit. It's not going anywhere at the moment as far as I'm led to believe. Jennifer, you still liking it?
Still a fan.
Kate, we don't know your views on Clan Roar.
Well, for the first game where we had it, I was sitting in Upper L, and it was obviously the first night they'd had it, and I ended up just being really confused. And I said to Rusty, because he obviously bangs the drum 3 times to start it, and everybody seemed to wait for him to do it again. And that night was terrible. I wasn't at the Fife game, but I thought on Saturday night back in Block K that it seemed to work really well, and everybody around us was getting involved, Ross, which, as you know, is quite unusual.
Graham, you off the fence yet?
I don't like it. But I'm not going to get upset about it. For me, it doesn't work. For me, it's too contrived. So from that point of view, I don't really get it. I think if you had something shorter that could also be used at other times during the course of the game, then that's different. Having something right at the start with all this other palaver to carry on, first of all, or thereafter, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But if it hangs around, I will not be overly upset, but I'm not personally a fan.
DJ time. Purple Army and Nanook both commented on it. Purple Army saying, I'd like to thank the new DJ for changing his mic setup. Much better, only thing that was better but this weekend. And Nanook said that on Saturday during the game they done well, like the team, all will come good, keep the faith folks. Whereas Neil Routledge says the DJ needs to learn its hockey, far less pop and way more rock. As far as the DJ's concerned, it's a hard act to follow. We say it every week, kind of fed up covering it now. This guy's here to stay for this season anyway. He has got better. There was a few miscues, but that's going to happen. I know the Clan put a wee statement out saying that Johnny couldn't commit to 100%. If you've got 90% Johnny Orr, I would take that every season. Maybe they could look at a way to work the two guys together, rather than, a complete just kissing Johnny goodbye for the sake of a few games. We don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm not speaking for Johnny in any way, shape or form. But, just because you can't do it every single game, these guys are volunteers, they don't get paid. Work comes first. I think the DJ thing's something we've done to death over the last few weeks, and I don't think we'll be touching on it again, guys.
Yeah, I would tend to agree, but I think the fact that Johnny chose to clarify the situation, the problem with the blurb that came out from the team or the club was it was slightly vague, and the way it was worded wasn't clear. And it's between the club and Johnny, obviously, but there was some clever wording involved, and it wasn't clear that it was the club's decision for Johnny not to be kept on for this season because he couldn't make, as we think it will probably be, just a few games. So I'm kind of with you in that respect. For me, I said it last week, Johnny's been with the club from day one. And there have been times when his involvement in the game, in terms of his choice of song and the timing of it, has been very good, and might even have been an extra man on the ice from time to time. So for me, he's kind of part of the team, and I must admit, and it's the last time I'll say it, I am really struggling with the logic behind why this has turned out the way it has. And it's nothing against Andrew, because he is getting better week on week. I do agree he needs to get some rock in there. There's no ECDC or nothing, and that is just not right. But that's a different thing. We can tackle him on the choice of music. And
Stephen's been paying him off.
So the choice of music is, that's a whole different issue, and it's nothing against Andrew. I just struggle with the logic about why the club has kind of brought this upon itself for this season, when for me, as you say, some arrangement or get some kind of sub who's trained up and is regularly helping out Johnny and can therefore stand in. But the fact that the guy looks as if he might miss the occasional game he's just dropped, I don't get that at all.
Elizabeth Brown, I agree with Elizabeth. Hate all the negativity. It's only 3 games into the season. Ryan Connor, don't get me started in season ticket gate. Massive fuss over a queue that never happened. I didn't really have a problem with the queue. I think they probably did deal with it right. Again, we touched on it last week. The fact it happened, probably shouldn't have happened. It's probably not the Clan's fault. They've done everything they could. It was short notice. Again, that might not be the Clan's fault. But the way it was handled on Saturday, it seemed to go okay. Did anybody in the panel have any problems getting their new season ticket on Saturday?
None at all.
Yeah.
No.
So nobody can really complain. The only complaint I've got is that after I got my ticket, which we got during the day about 1:30 in the afternoon, I presented it about 6:20 when I'm trying to get into the arena to be told that my new ticket was invalid as well, and I was pointed towards the box office. So I stood in that queue, which wasn't too big, to get to the front